Hey, what is going on, everyone? Vega here for SerpentX Tech. Welcome back to another episode of Caffeine and Crypto, where I welcome you to join me with your favorite caffeinated beverage of choice, coffee, energy drink, tea, whatever you got, as we go over this week's crypto news, or some general crypto news, and we got some randomness to talk about, but it's whatever. The markets are green, but are they really? They're down, right? Bitcoin sitting around 88K, Ethereum below 3,000, BNB below 900. Yeah, they're green right now on Coin360 with a few like Uniswap kind of showing some deeper greens. Caspa also deeper greens, but nowhere near what they were. I mean, Caspa's still around 4 cents, under 5 cents. Algo around 12, Dot around 1.8. Sued down to below $1.50. Just absolutely craziness. Whoa, what is going on in the chat? Case Rocker sent 5 memberships to Adam, DJ Death Star, the Come on Rams. Oh, we got a Rams fan in here. Yes. I don't even know how to say your name. I'm just gonna say logo 321 and Sloth. What's going on, guys? Appreciate that, Case Rocker. You didn't have to do that, but I appreciate it. Spreading that Christmas cheer early as we get ready to roll into Christmas 2025. Are you guys excited? You guys get anything for yourselves or get anything interesting for your families, members? You know, like is there a gift that you're just super excited for them to open out, you know, on Christmas Day? Let me know. Santa been good to you? Santa hasn't been good to you? Have you been naughty? Not that kind of naughty, but you know, where you're getting a piece of coal. Let me know in the live chat. Appreciate the support and you guys stopping by, swinging through. We're just gonna keep rocking and rolling with some news. If you were trying to get my attention, you know, please at me, send a super chat if you can afford to do so. Save your money for you and your family. Get some good gifts as we roll into the news. So the chart's looking the same, kind of pushing sideways, still stuck into this range between 94K and 88K. We started to push up yesterday, December 19th. And we're having kind of like a little green candle today, but that EMA 50 is going to be holding us back, or EMA 20 is going to be holding us back. We'll see if we can break up before the weekend's end, because Bitcoin continues to trade while the rest of the stock market just doesn't. But we got a long road to go, and I don't think that we will clear December 2025 in a green month. You can see if we switch over to the monthly, you know, October was bad news bears, November was even more bad news bears, and December is kind of like meh. So I don't think we'll flip December into green. Maybe we can make January and February into green, but we'll have to see, because there's a lot of macroeconomic conditions that I'm not going to cover on today's channel or today's show, because I'm not an expert in finance, and nothing I'm saying in today's live stream should be misconstrued or misunderstood as financial advice. I'm just things that I'm doing in my opinion, and opinion only. I'm just an entertainer. I am not a financial expert. But, you know, at these ranges, I'm just continuing to accumulate, whether that be through mining crypto or through just buying crypto. And honestly, my strategy has shifted more towards buying crypto, and it might be accumulative, right? Like dollar cost average over time. You know, I got an extra $100. I might throw a little bit more in this week versus last week, so on and so forth, just accumulating over time, still mining with some machines here and there during the more efficient hours of the evening, because JEA, the electric company here in Jacksonville, Florida, are a bunch of crooks. And I actually have a meeting with them. I'm probably not going to go to it because they're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. Even though I dropped my power usage from 12,000 kilowatt per month, that's a lot, guys. From 12,000 kilowatt hours per month to around 3,000, maybe 3,500 kilowatts per hour, or kilowatt hours. You know, it's still significant when you're being charged almost 15 cents plus here in the United States. Nothing compared to the EU, as we talked about in the past. Moving on, Fidelity Jurin Timmer expect lame 2026 as 4-year Bitcoin cycle appears intact. The director of global macro at the asset manager giant remains a secular bull on Bitcoin, but isn't optimistic about next year, right? Ooh, Retro Mike stopping by for a $20 dono. Nice, bro. Appreciate it. Smash that like button. Showed Retro Mike some love. You know, really love the information and content that Retro Mike puts out. Very knowledgeable individual. Doesn't get as much love as I think they should get. I know many of you that watch this channel are familiar with Retro Mike, but if you're not and you're new, you should consider checking out Retro Mike. Really, really cool individual, very knowledgeable, and got some great videos out there. Thank you, Retro Mike, for the $20 donation. But this is kind of leading into what I was thinking, right? So even though we might have a green, I'm hoping for a greener January, February, you know, when March starts to come, March, April, we start to fall back at the end of February, March, April. Now we're falling down deeper. And then, you know, taxes start to come in. People start to put more money into the crypto market. And then we fall even more as we lead into summer, August, September, and then October, November, December is usually green, but it wasn't green this past year. So, in summary, 2026 might not be a good year for crypto. Now, does that mean Bitcoin would be a $50,000 Bitcoin? It could be. It could be, because some of the topics that I am not adept in is like the Japanese macroeconomic conditions, and Japanese are the biggest buyers of American debt. So that's kind of tied to the American system. And we got this big economy where everybody's buying each other's debt. And so if one domino falls, it's going to affect the others. One might not affect the other as much, but it's still going to affect the other. So if we're already sitting where we are right now, as far as the tech stocks and crypto and stuff like that, and there's another black swan or some economic situation that is not favorable, you could see Bitcoin fall down to 70K, 72, right? While I feel that 50 and maybe 32K is unlikely, that's still, you know, in the realm of possible. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and zoom out, switch back over to the monthly, and let's see what the drawdown would be to some of these levels. Let's look at the EMA ribbons, right? So we got the 20 where we're at now, basically, right? If we were to fall down to the 50, I believe, that's only a 20% pullback, and at 67K. And then down to this green line right here would be maybe 45K. So a sub $50,000 Bitcoin. I mean, I would see a lot of institutions and banks and stuff like that just gobbling it up if it did fall that far. But we'll see. But we got another thing that's happening before the end of the year. Options expiry. So a lot of variables that could throw things back. Moving on with this article, German Timmer says that the action so far this time around lines up perfectly with the past 4-year cycles, and the current bearish action should last deep into 2026. So 2026 could be a bearish situation for crypto. Now that could instantly swing the opposite way. That 100% could swing the opposite way, but we'll have to see. But I'm kind of in line. I'm kind of aligned with that, right? Like I'm accumulating assets as best I can. I don't have a lot of money, but I'm also shoring up my cash position and diversifying my portfolio. So if one falls, I still have the others to keep me up. And, you know, I'm maintaining a job. The wife's maintaining a job. We're making sure our boys are either starting up their school again or the next semester and working their jobs. We're just doing our best I can as a four-unit family to just keep pushing forward, seeing that the economic future is very uncertain, which is why the market's down. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of concern. But we don't need anything else. We don't need anything major to happen. Bitwise, Matt Hogan, and ARK Invest, Kathy Wood, have thrown their considerable weight behind the idea of dismissing the 4-year cycle. And we talked about this last week's episode about the 4-year cycle being broken, or in my opinion, delayed, right? More like a 5-year cycle, some. But, you know, this person on this article from CoinDesk is saying that it's still intact and 2026 is going to be bearish, which I'm kind of in line with. Each noted that the ETFs, along with regulatory and institutional acceptance that have blended Bitcoin into traditional finance system, Bitcoin is no longer a fringe asset, and there's no reason for it to follow the same pattern today as it did years ago. That's true. It's a whole different environment. But the problem is if the tech bros and the tech stocks and the suits do bad, then that's also going to bring down crypto because they're in the same game and they usually allocate or adjust or flip, crypto in order to, outweigh the gains or the losses in the traditional stocks. So we'll have to see. The 4-year cycle, though, in case you don't know, is a price pattern linked to Bitcoin's halving events, which occur roughly every 4 years. These halvings reduce the supply by 50% and the reward for mining one block by 50%. And this is causing a supply shock and forcing a major run on the price, which we did see record institutional buying versus the supply recently for Bitcoin. So the institutions are still accumulating, right? There's still companies out there that are saying, that already said, that they want to have 182,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet by 2032, 2035, whatever, or 50,000 Bitcoin by 2027, whatever it is, right? So those institutions are still accumulating Bitcoin and still accumulating assets, especially as more ETFs become available, whether it's Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, maybe Doge, Litecoin in the future, Ripple, like they're accumulating with the expectation that those ETFs will pass because the regulatory environment is a lot easier or lenient or friendlier to the crypto ecosystem. Chart squigglers, says the article, like to point to the bull runs and subsequent crashes that occurred during 2012, 2016, 2020's happening and say things are playing out the same for 2024 event. The sharp run higher, which eventually topped out in October 2025 above 125K, and then the bear market, which is where the market finds itself now. An earlier believer in Bitcoin among the traditional finance crowd, Timur, asset management giant Fidelity's director of global macro, isn't seeing anything in the charts that says the 4-year cycle is dead. If we visually line up all the bull markets, we can see that the October high of 125K after 145 weeks of rallying fits pretty well with the one we might expect. As for the next, this would be a winter. Timur noted that the subsequent bear market tend to last about 1 year. My sense is that 2026 could be the year off for Bitcoin. Support, he concluded, is in the 65K to 75K range, which is what we just showed, right? If we look at the EMA ribbons, again, like we were getting near there. At the lowest, maybe 47K. But the end of this month, we have options expiry happening, 23 billion worth, and that could be a huge hit. So we'll have to see. 3.16 billion crypto options expiry puts Bitcoin and Ethereum's next move in question. Now, this article says 23 billion. But of course, I'm not paying for Bloomberg, so fuck that. This one says 3.16 billion in Bitcoin and Ethereum options expire. Bitcoin clusters around 88K, signaling range-bound action unless a breakout emerges. Ethereum position is wider, keeping the larger moves possible if volatility really accelerates. Over 3.16 billion worth of Bitcoin and Ethereum options are set to expire on Friday, which was yesterday. So then what is a 23? I'm not paying for it. Let me check something real quick. Okay, so we pushed up Friday. That could be part of it. Talking about whatever this 3.16 billion is. Bitcoin's open interest is concentrated around 88K, while slightly heavier put positions pointing to a relatively contained expiry unless spot breaks range. 470 million Ethereum options expire today. What investors should know. So this article came out on the 19th, yesterday. And it looks like, let me go check Ethereum real quick. Yeah, it looks like we pushed up yesterday. So, but this one, I believe, is at the end of the month. Like, overall, I think this is coming at the end of the month. So we'll have to see how things go. And don't forget, we talked about MicroStrategy last week, where they say they got 21 months that they can handle the dividend payments and all that stuff, no problem, without dipping into their purse. But if they ever have to dip into their purse because Bitcoin crashes, that's going to push the price down even further. It's not going to be like an FTX collapse, but it could be a huge impact, especially when you have MicroStrategy having to sell and an institution is following right behind it. But we'll have to see how things are going. The ETFs are just paper trading crypto, which isn't good for blockchain as they don't transact on the blockchain. I agree. ETFs are just for the normies, just for the regular folks, the mom and pops, to get some exposure to crypto because they don't know how to use Coinbase. They don't want to fumble around with a hardware wallet. They don't want to worry about, you know, being the manager of their own private keys. They don't want the responsibility, to just want the money. So they're not comfortable. So they're just going to go call their financial advisor or whoever their management is for their finances and be like, buy Bitcoin, buy Ethereum. I want to buy this much, you know, 6% over this much time, blah, blah, blah. That's it, because they don't want to deal with the responsibility. Now, I urge you as a crypto person, I urge you to please use a hardware wallet or a wallet that allows you to store your own private keys securely and safely. Retro Mike's got a bunch of videos on it. I got a bunch of videos on it. A number of my colleagues got a bunch of videos on it. There's a number of different ways. Then I go over different wallets to where you can secure your crypto yourself and do it kind of in a convenient fashion. Now, yes, it takes a little bit of technical understanding, know-how, stuff like that. You know, what a Type C port is, what a micro USB port is, you know, the apps you got installed. It does take a little bit, but I urge you to do so. If you're just keeping everything on Coinbase and Cash App, if anything happens to those companies, you're SOL, because you do not own those keys. You do not own those coins. Not your keys, not your coins, as they say for so many years. So there's a bunch of different options. And again, yes, it could be considered paper trading because it's not on the blockchain whatsoever. It's basically a bunch of suits or financial advisors on behalf of somebody gaining their client or adding exposure to Bitcoin or whatever the asset is to their client's portfolio. So that when Bitcoin go up, they also receive some benefits of it also. I mean, you're not directly tied to the oil, but if you want to buy oil, there's ETFs for that. If you don't want to own gold, like physical gold in a safe and have to worry about protecting it, you can do the ETFs. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just another avenue for people to gain exposure. And the people that run these ETFs, or the like IBIT, right, they have to buy that Bitcoin, right? As more and more people come in and record inflows hit, they have to continue to buy Bitcoin. So, and I think some of their average like buy price or bought price is actually increased significantly, where some of us, you know, bought Bitcoin at sub $100 and we're way up. Which is why I don't mind Satoshi era people taking profits. I do have some concerns if it's not the true Satoshi era person, and instead somebody who's either compromised that user, or they're deceased and they took over their wallet, or somebody was able to hack it, same thing as compromise, or some state-sponsored institution or you know, whatever, it was able to crack it using technology that the regular person cannot access, like quantum computing, which should be years away, but we talked about that not too long ago, and it is a perceivable threat, but there are things being done. If you haven't heard about that, there are things being done to move Bitcoin forward and kind of, you know, make it more quantum resistant in the future. You should be very knowledgeable on that and pay attention to what the community is saying. But anyways, yeah. ETFs, options expiry, not ETFs, but we'll see how things go. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, speaking of ETFs, a true rarity, massive inflows even with negative performance. If you can do 25 billion in a bad year, imagine the flow potential in a good year, says somebody from BlackRock. BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETFs, the IBIT, is 6 in ETFs inflows in 2025 despite the negative return. IBIT even took more money than the leading gold ETF despite that fund gaining 65% this year. Boomers putting on a hodl clinic? What does that mean? I don't understand. Anyways, Spot Bitcoin ETFs investors may be have shown themselves to be anything but momentum chasers this year. While there's no secret that BlackRock has been a wild success, or at least their ETF since its open in January 2024. Data compiled by Bloomberg's crack ETF analyst Eric shows that success in another light. So far in 2025, IBIT ranks 6 out of all the ETFs. Atop the 25 funds by inflows. Ranked first is Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF, and then 145 billion. And then ranked 25 is iShares S&P 100. Like S&P is still a go-to for a lot of investors. Like even my mom dabbles with S&P, and I don't blame her. Off the entire list of the top 25, IBIT is the only one with the negative return for the year, down 9.6% as of midday Friday. Even the Spider Gold ETF is in 8th place with 20.8 billion. Took in less money than IBIT despite showing massive 65% advance in 2025. Crypto Twitter knee-jerk reaction is to whine about the BTC return, but the real takeaway is that the 6th place, despite the negative return, boomers putting on a hodl clinic. That's a real good sign in long term. If you can do 25 million in a bad year, imagine what the flow potential could be in a good year. So yeah, I mean, I could kind of agree with that, right? If this is, and we had some hype, right, with the election at the end of 2024, you could see the hype train, going off, right? So here's the election leading into the end of the year, Bitcoin conference 2024, boom, we take off. We make a new all-time high at that time. Or excuse me, we didn't make a new all-time high at that time. Actually, we did make a new all-time high at that time. Wavered a little bit in the middle of the year. And then look, April, right? April 2025. And let's look at April 2024. April kind of looks like, this one looks like kind of like a down, like a choppy one. And this actually right here, this area right here, where this choppiness is, could be what 2026 is going to be like. So it could be choppy just in this range. So anywhere between 94 to, or let's say 92 to 68K. That's what Bitcoin could be over the next 2026 year. And that would push a lot of people out. I understand that. You could call them weak hands, you could call them whatever. But if you got to take profits because you got to pay bills, you got to take profits to pay bills. So do whatever you need to. But yeah, BlackRock, despite a negative return or negative performance, they made 25 billion in a bad year, in a year where there was some hype, but the hype wasn't sustained. We had some serious pullbacks, some serious discomfort, some serious concerns, and yet they still got that 25. So congrats to BlackRock with your paper money. We'll see how things go with other ETFs and more inflows in the future. The real winners are the OTC, says Retro Mike. That is the over-the-counter traders, the over-the-counter institutions, places, whatever. And you can still buy Bitcoin over-the-counter. You can still use a number of different sources to accumulate Bitcoin without, because over-the-counter lets you buy Bitcoin in bulk without affecting the price, right? So I can see why it's attractive to large individuals or large investors, but we'll have to see. Bitcoin's news today. Bitcoin institutional buying outpaces new supply for the first 6 months. Institutional demand for Bitcoin has flipped, net supply negative for the first time since early November, signaling a potential inflection point as BTC searches for a market bottom. Bitcoin's institutional bid is showing early signs of recovery, with new data indicating that large buyers are once again absorbing BTC than miners are producing, right? So miners are producing only so much Bitcoin a day, and institutions are gobbling it up, which is why I've been saying for months, if not years, that you, the end user, the regular Joe, the mom and pop, some of you are doing well financially or better financially than others. I understand that, but I would say that we're all in this group, right? We're all the regular cats. We don't have any significant influence. Even if you do have a significant Twitter following or YouTube following, whatever, you don't have any significant power in your voice to sway politics, sway legislation, sway the judicial system, nothing like that. You're just working hard. You made good money. You're doing well for yourself. You're diversified. And then everything down to I can barely get by. I'm living paycheck to paycheck, if not worse. Accumulate if you can. Like I like if you can't get by and you're going paycheck to paycheck, pay your bills, do what you need to do, keep your lights on, make sure you got a roof over your head, food to eat, clothes on your back. But if you can put a little bit here, a little bit there, like accumulate it, because the institutions are gobbling this shit up, right? Hungry hippos, and you're not going to be left with much to pull from. As Bitcoin continues to go, right, as we've seen it, right, the price goes up, the less Bitcoin you can get with your purchase. So if it does dip down and you can get, $100, a $20, a $50, a $10, $5, whatever, try to accumulate as much as you can. Institutional Bitcoin demand is now 13% higher than the daily mine supply, marking the first net supply reduction since early November. Corporate and fund level buying has outpaced miner issuance for 3 consecutive days. The shift comes despite over 600 million in spot Bitcoin ETF outflows recorded in 2 days. According to fresh data from quantitative crypto fund Caprol Investments, institutional buyers have reclaimed dominance over Bitcoin's daily supply dynamics. Over the past 3 days, institutional purchases have exceeded newly mined Bitcoin, effectively reducing a circulating supply on a rolling basis. This marks the first sustained period of institutional-led supply absorption in over 6 weeks, following prolonged drawdown that saw Bitcoin retreat more than 30% in its October all-time high. While the current level of demand remains well below the peak bull market intensity, the reversal itself is notable. So while we're saying that 2026 could be a bearish winter for crypto, there are still some signs out there that's like, okay, this is something that I need to take into account, especially if you're a trader, is because as that supply gets gobbled up by the institutions, and again, this is where OTC comes in. Retro Mike, you're always on top of the world. You always be number one in me, baby. So as that supply gets eaten up, right? Supply versus demand, the price should go up. But this is going back to what Retro Mike mentioned, OTC, right? If they want to buy a large amount of Bitcoin without affecting the price of the market, they can do it over the counter. Now it depends on who their over the counter partner is. They might not have the amount of Bitcoin that they're trying to buy up, but just saying, like, and some places are mining Bitcoin for directly to an investor's wallet, or directly to a holder's wallet, or directly to, like, they're just passing it on to them, right? Because they help them set up multiple facilities, 50 megawatt, a gigawatt, 5 megawatt, whatever. So this is interesting though, because while 2026 could be bearish, you can see that down here in the bottom right, we got 3 little green ones, right? We've been red for the longest time, and we got 3 little green ones. So institutions are buying up Bitcoin at this price. Will they continue to do so is the question. The renewed accumulation trend has reignited attention as corporate Bitcoin treasuries, particularly Strategy, the world's largest publicly listed BTC holder, despite significant declines in both Bitcoin price and Strategy's equity valuation, the firm has continued adding to Bitcoin reserves. Now, it's not just Strategy, MicroStrategy, but Caprol, a founder of Charles Edwards, previously noted that the period between October's highs and November's lows represented intense stress across corporate Bitcoin landscape. His latest analyst points to broken corporate flywheel, citing record discounts to net value, or NAV, among BTC holding companies and rising leverage across the sector. Even so, Edwards emphasized that Bitcoin's network fundamentals remain attractive. The fundamentals itself are sound, suggesting that institutional accumulation may be laying groundwork for long-term recovery, albeit the near-term price volatility is still unresolved. So this is long term. Sorry, this could probably be like 2027, right? Or the end of 2026 going into 2027. But the demand is there. All the signs are there. We might not get a Fed rate cut immediately in 2026. We might get a pause and then a rate cut. But all the signs are there. The regulatory clarity is there. The fundamentals and the soundness of Bitcoin, and especially blockchain, at least some of them, is there. The ecosystem and the landscape is good. People just don't have money. Like, maybe some of you, and I don't want you to dox yourself or say anything you shouldn't, but like, tell me right now, do you have money to go do whatever the fuck you want? Like, some of you do, but a majority of us don't. Like, right now, get up and go. Drop 4 or 5K on whatever fucking trip you want, maybe 10K. You gonna go to the Super Bowl? You got that kind of money? I don't. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping my team makes it to the Super Bowl. It's going to be a tight weekend. But we'll talk about that later. Let's not get into randomness yet. But like last week, talking about MicroStrategy, you know, there was a chance that MicroStrategy, which barely made it onto that list, the NASDAQ list, could have been removed because just like the S&P 500, if your stock is shit, you're going to get kicked. So MicroStrategy almost lost out. They had to calm down the people by saying, no, we got money. We can pay the dividends. We're still accumulating Bitcoin. We're not selling our position to pay down blah, 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 debt, whatever, dividends. But yeah, strategy and Bitcoin buying firms face wider exclusion from stocks indexes. They could be removed, right? MicroStrategy's up 4.16%. MSCI is up 1.05%. These are some of the indexes here. Matter of fact, what is MSCI? What is the full name of this thing? What is that? Earnings? Analyst rating? Is that earnings? Yep, there's earnings. October 28th. Dip down, pulling back up. Okay. MicroStrategy. Let's look at MicroStrategy. 6 months. I mean, yeah. That's red, right? Because if you look at the past 6 months of crypto, that's no bueno. Significant volume over here the other day, though. So we'll see. But these institutions that are primarily have their sheets full of Bitcoin or crypto with that exposure to the crypto market, which is very volatile, could be delisted from various indexes. I don't care, but somebody might. And if the exclusion happens and MicroStrategy gets dropped, that could be a significant impact to the crypto market because of how much exposure they have towards Bitcoin. So this is something that we want to keep an eye on. I'm hoping it won't happen, but you can hope in one hand or wish in one hand and shit in another and see which one fills up faster. So we'll see what happens. Still, we have whales buying Bitcoin. Even though the macroeconomic conditions are not induces of whatever, like whales are buying Bitcoin. So we got a whale here that bought 2,509 Bitcoin as macro cycle chart delays bull run. The delay being 2026. And you can see their hot wallet here. Let me see if I can open up a new tab. So you can see their wallet here. Right? 836.4, 836.4, 836.4. They did a little bit of dusting. Maybe to check the wallet, make sure everything is good. $10, $10, $10. 73 million, 73 million, 73 million. Three newly created Bitcoin wallets bought around 2,509 Bitcoin worth around 220 million over the past 24 hours, according to the post by Coin Bureau, and cited Falcon X link transfers. Interesting. The activity appeared to be three large inflows from Falcon X hot wallet into separate destination address, suggesting one buyer split the purchase across multiple wallets. Screenshot shared with the post showed that three nearly identical transfers of 836 Bitcoin each recorded within the same day and priced around 73 million per transfer in the feed. In total, these three tranches up to 2,509, matching the figure Coin Bureau reported. Still, wallet creation and transfer patterns do not confirm the buyer's identity. Large desk and brokers can move coins for clients in the same wallet structure, can reflect custodial setup, internal rebalancing, or settlement flows rather than single trader directional bet. Right? So, like, no reason to panic. but we'll see what they're doing. By Cryptos R Us, compare Bitcoin long-term price trend with U.S. business cycles tracked by the ISM, arguing that Bitcoin's biggest rallies tend to align with the expansion in a broader economy rather than the halving cycle alone. The post said that the current phase has not yet matched the prior periods that precede sharp upside moves. Okay, so business cycle, we got a dip here in 2020, kind of matches right there. The waves are a little bit more pronounced on the ISM than the Bitcoin price, but you can still see them there. They're not exact for exact, but what they're saying is, so one article is saying that the bear market, the winter is, crypto winter is coming for most of 2026 with a possible push up at the end of 2026 or 2027. This one is adding some bullish news saying that it coincides with business cycles, blah, 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 and that we should expect, and from what I'm looking at here, if we look at this chart, it's basically saying, so 2021 is right here. Yeah, it's basically saying in Q1 or Q2 of 2026, we should have another run-up. That's what it's saying. And I'm telling you right now, I don't care who you watch, whether it's me or somebody else, nobody can tell you the future. Nobody can tell you this is what Bitcoin is going to do. This is what crypto is going to do. This is what this altcoin is going to do. This meme coin isn't it, and it's going to go up to the moon. Like, you can listen to that, but you need to make your own informed decisions on it. And there's plenty of great content creators out there, including Retro Mike and Tom Crown and K-Dub, that like they don't mess with the little meme coins. Like, I got some videos for you if you're into meme coins, like what to look for and how to study the meme coins and try to find those gems. They're very hard, but like what to look for specifically, there's videos on my channel that you can go if you're interested in that. But I'm trying to accumulate, you know, assets that are in the top at least 20 of crypto, as well as, you know, assets in the traditional market, to try to diversify the portfolio, but also have a consistent upward trajectory, right? There's always going to be ebbs and flows, but like the S&P 500, I want straight up, constant returns, 3% or higher. CryptoOS wrote that Bitcoin's largest rallies don't happen just because of halvings. Instead, they arrive with business cycle shifts into stronger phase, which the post said does not follow a perfect 4-year cycle. The framing points to macro conditions as key driver alongside crypto-specific catalysts. The chart itself does not prove causation, and the post did not provide a statistical test for the relationship. Still, it reflects a common macro narrative in crypto markets that links risk asset performance to shifts in growth, liquidity, and manufacturing activity captured by the PMI data. Bitcoin dominance nears resistance as analyst points to possible altcoin rotation. Right? And I think I saw a post not too long ago where basically it was saying like you didn't miss the altcoin season, you just missed something like altcoin season happened, you just missed the coin, something like that. I don't know how I feel about that. So here's a new coin. Let's take a look at it real quick. This is a Japanese Akita Inu. And just real quick for some of my people that are new. So we got all here. This just got charted on CoinMarketCap on February 1st, 2025. You can see it spiked up on the 3rd, and it's been relatively flat for the longest time. But if we kind of zoom out with that big boy there, you can see, yeah, it's only recently that it spiked up, and somebody obviously boosted it. That's what this is. Somebody boosted by 2,400. So yesterday, it was at 0.507268. Then later on that night, it climbed up to, or I guess this morning, to 405. Not significant. But let's say, you know, you bought 1 million, what is it? 100 million of these coins for some reason. That's $4,000 from probably like $1,000, something like that. Now, it's only on Radium. It probably has more markets out there. You need to copy the contract address. It's a pumped out fund thing, right? But you wanna, what is it? Oh my God, rug pull checker. Rugcheck.xyz. Let's take a look at this real quick. Put the token address in, check. Low amount of liquidity providers, right? So they only have one market. Total liquidity looks like 14K. It is 100% locked, so that's good. Came from pumped out fund. 57%, 50% of the supply was sent to 31 wallets, right? Top 10 holders look pretty good. They're under 32%. That's what I like to see. Market cap 42K. Okay. Now the creator balance might have sold, but they might be one of these 31 people with 31 wallets, or they might have 31 wallets that they all own that are like hanging on to this coin. So when it blows up, they can do whatever. Accounts sent tokens without purchasing. All right, so here are the 31 wallets. I love the way it visualizes this. And we could go to SoulScan and we can see what their balances are. We can check out their wallet. See what kind of transfers they had. This is what you call chain analysis. But like just jumping into a coin just for the sake of it could be bad. Another one I like to use is Bird Eye. So let's go to Bird Eye real quick. Go to Solana. Put in that token. Should come up. It's not verified yet. It doesn't have the shield on it for verification. But we could go to security and let's see what security says. So it's not verified. There's a way to get on the verified list. It's not on the Jupiter strict list. That's not a verification step. This one says 50% of the top 10 holders are holding a large portion of the supply. GoPlus says 84.08 of the top 10 holders are holding a large portion of the supply. So that's bad because if the price does pump, I bet you they are the ones, or whoever they are is the one that boosted this on CMC. And this is how you can get wrecked. Now, yeah, you could probably make money off of these people still, but this is a little bit of a risk. I wouldn't say a huge risk, right? Like they don't have the freeze protection on, or they don't have the account freeze capability where if you buy in, they can automatically freeze your account or steal your funds back or take it back. They don't have the way they can change the metadata. That's very important. But a significant amount of the supply being in only a few hands, and it might be all one hand. It could be 50 wallets with all owned by the same person, and they just spread it amongst themselves. So these are some of the things that I look for. And again, I have a full video on that if you want to check it out. Going back to CoinMarketCap, because I got easily distracted because we were talking about alt season. Alt season, we're at 15 right now. It's completely all Bitcoin. You can see in the past, like we dipped into altcoin season in October, but we haven't had a sustained alt season run. And I think that's what people are looking for, right? That's what's going to get you excited about GPU mining again. That's what's going to get you excited about dabbling in meme coins and altcoins again, and spending your money instead of on Bitcoin or more reliable, more seasoned veteran asset. You go and play around with some of these shit coins to see if you get some good gains. Retro Mike says he's literally saving for 6 months just to go to BTC Vegas. See, like, going back to what I was saying, can you right now, can you guys drop, it's middle Christmas, you bought gifts and all that stuff, can you literally go and spend $7,000 on a vacation, $10,000 on a vacation, like some of these other people that are in more better positions can do? Because if you can't, then like that's why we're not buying a lot of crypto. We don't have the money to do so. So you don't have retail really being involved. Alt season isn't popping off. People already had to take profits, so we're probably already low to the, like our fuel tank is low. We're not scraping the barrel, but our fuel tank is low. We're ahead. Our head's above water, but we're not like, skyscrapers above water. We're okay, but we're not the best. So when we start having things kind of settle down and the economy start to do better, we're not worried about Japan's economy. We're not worried about China, and China's got a lot of debt too. Like we got 38 trillion, but Japan's got a lot of debt. China's got a lot of debt. Various countries in the EU's got a lot of debt, and we're all interlinked because we buy each other's debt. So if China pops, or Japan, excuse me, if Japan pops, that could set a chain reaction. That's my next concern. One thing that I am looking at, and again, I'm not a financial expert, but I am keeping my eye on that situation. So we'll have to see how things go. But the point is, we just don't have the money to just dive into these things and drop 10 grand on a coin. When things were doing good or doing okay, I built 3 Solana tokens. None of them are doing all that well except for Coochie Coin. It's still alive. If you guys want to play around with it, you're more than welcome to. And then helped out 2 other projects and got no returns. Didn't get paid a dime from it. I invested so much money into it. I'm not doing that again. Not for free. Not for free. If you want my help, you need to pay me, because I'm tired of being taken advantage by individuals. Not you guys, but other people who took advantage. And not even Pellish. I'm not even talking about Pellish. I'm talking about other individuals who took my knowledge for free because I gave it willingly. That's my fault. And did absolutely nothing to, thank me for my time, my knowledge, any of that. But that's the whole reason why this YouTube channel even exists. It's like I bump into something I don't think anybody's talked about or done, and I want to just, share it with the world. Show them something I bumped into or I found or an issue or whatever. And just help anybody, wherever you are in this world. Doesn't matter. And I'm getting a lot of good comments about, the Asus teardown video or the RX 9070 XT liquid metal or the laptop, the Asus G16. Like, people are thanking me for doing videos on XYZ, and they're getting help, and that's all that really matters. But when you have somebody who's greedy, who takes advantage of your time and your knowledge and your intelligence and gives you nothing for it, despite promising to give you something for it, promises are just that, words. Actions speak louder than words. But yeah, fear and greed index, like the fear and greed index actually went up. We were sitting below sub 20. Now we're above 25. So we'll see how that goes. I don't like the market cap. If I move out of your way, the market cap's under 3 trillion. I would like to see that higher. But right now, again, people just don't have money. So we'll see. But is the Bitcoin crash actually awesome news for regular people? To put it simply, there's more for everyone else. I agree with that. The problem is, again, we don't have money like that. We can't just go buy an entire Bitcoin right now. Do you have 88,000? No? Okay, all right. Well, then we got to put $10 in, $5 in, $20 in, $50 in, and accumulate as much as we possibly can. But it is available to all the people. Whether you use Robinhood, Cash App, Coinbase, Binance, does not matter. Again, I would prefer you to use, if you want to use those on-ramps to accumulate Bitcoin, but make sure that when you go to withdraw, you can withdraw it to a wallet that you own the private keys to, I'm all for it. Cash App allows you to do that. Coinbase allows you to do that. Binance allows you to do that. Gemini allows you to do that. Kraken allows you to do that. Right? Robinhood does not. Some of the other, like Webull and stuff like that, I don't think allows you to do that. But if you can... I'm not even sure if Gemini... Does Gemini allow you... I haven't used Gemini. Does Gemini allow you to withdraw your crypto to a hardware wallet? Somebody in the comment and let me know, because I'm not really a Gemini user. Sam Fisher, sorry I'm late for Crypto Church. What's up, bud? I don't buy weed, I grow it, says Putz. That's funny. You need my tent? You want my tent? I was actually considering selling another batch of GPUs and a couple other miners. Um, just because the electricity prices, like I'm telling you, dude, like I gotta look at when I scheduled this meeting with the electric company, but they are just thieving ass motherfuckers. You gotta know what the min off ramps are. The min off ramps. Yes, Gemini does. Okay. The min off ramps, the minimum off ramps are. So I just don't like Gemini. Like I like the Winklevoss twins. They've been in crypto for a while. You know, they were influential in moving crypto in the right direction and trying to legitimize it and legalize it and stuff like that. So I respect what they did. I'm just not a fan of their platform. But yeah, so again, if you're, and this is probably going for anybody else that's watching the live stream or watching this video later on, because I know a lot of people in the live stream know this already. But again, you buying Bitcoin through sources that allow you to withdraw it to a hardware wallet at a later date and time. Just note that if you buy and then withdraw it 6 months later, there might be some capital gains tax on that. There might be some tax loss harvesting you can do on that. There's a number of different things. So consult a CPA, a financial advisor, whatever it might be about that. But I'm just saying, like, keeping the Bitcoin in a safe location is better. Now, the con of that is, you know, say, for example, later on, as we get ready for Red Panda Mining to go live here in about 7-8 minutes, you know, later on, if I pass away, God forbid, we all die, it's going to happen. You know, how is the wife going to do what she needs to do? Like, if I go, how is she going to do what she needs to do? With that's where a backup plan needs to be put in place. That's where instructions need to be left, like inside your will, your living will, whatever it might be, power of attorney, whatever it might be. You know, you want to put everything in place so that way, if I leave this world, there's somebody, right? And somebody that I trust within the community that I already have talked and they're aware of who they are, is going to help out the missus with getting access to whatever she needs to for crypto. If she needs to liquidate to pay for stuff, she will. If she wants to pay off the house, pay off this, she will. Like, there needs to be a backup plan. That's the con. Whereas if you have it on a centralized platform shared between you and your family members, your spouse or whatever, right? And you guys have like a group wallet, anybody can access it and whatever. Or they know your password, they can access it, the fingerprint, Face ID, whatever it might be. If you ever see somebody, you know, during the viewing, like the person that passed away is inside the casket in the viewing, you see somebody come up and it's just like holding the phone to try to get Face ID, you know what they're doing. You know what they're doing. Stop them. Stop them. But yeah, like, you need to have a backup plan if you are going to rely on hardware wallets instead of centralized entities like Coinbase and stuff like that. Because I'm sure with Coinbase, Cash App, and a number of others, you might be able to provide the death certificate and get access to that account. It's going to be a long and arduous process, but there is a way to do that. Whereas with a hardware wallet, like, they lose the hardware wallet, I'm gone, they're SOL, right? You know, so leave instructions. Multi-sig is another way, right? Multi-sig, that's what I was talking about with multiple user wallet, right? You can set up multi-sig wallets to where you can store and everybody gets, like, in order for me to send crypto, I have to jump in a meeting with you and we have to sign the transaction together to send it off to whatever. You know, but if I pass away, now you don't have a second signature, so you might want to get a third person. Then now it's like a trust game, like, who do we trust to be on this multi-sig with us? It's a number of different variables. I haven't done a video on multi-sig wallets, but I've done a video on a number of different wallets. But simply put, get that exposure, accumulate Bitcoin, dollar cost average, or accumulate your top cryptos through those applications like Coinbase, Kraken, whatever. But I would urge you to not keep it all on those centralized platforms in case something happens, in case they get ransacked by the Fed, in case they get shut down. Because what's going to happen right now, crypto in the regulatory environment is friendly, but what happens in 3 years from now when the next president takes over? Are they going to reverse everything that we worked so hard to push for? I don't know, right? I think crypto and blockchain is a legitimate tool that the world needs to use to benefit humanity, 100%. But there's haters and there's supporters. And if we could just get everybody to, like, compromise and agree and understand that the fundamentals and the technology and the blockchain technology, like, underlying is hugely beneficial to the world, You know, except for all the trash and meme coins and jackasses like Sam Bankman-Fried and the Terra guy, you know, are assholes, and they shouldn't be able. They shouldn't have a platform to work on. Besides that, like everything else is pretty good. We just gotta, you know, do things cleanly. North Korea had its record year stealing the most amount of cryptocurrency. Let's see how much they have. So cyber attacks sponsored by rogue regime has swiped over 2.02 billion in crypto since January. Through early December, the chain analyst report shows thieves supported by North Korea have stolen over 50% more in crypto this year than in 2024, bringing their total indefinite haul from crypto theft since 2016 to 6.75 billion. That's a lot. That's a lot. And some of these Lazarus, those guys are good. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Don't. Hey, I'm not against you. Don't come at me. But they're good. They are good. And state-sponsored attacks are happening every single day. If you're not privy to that and you don't understand how that works, it happens all the time. It is nonstop. That is the world we live in. And it's just country attacking country, whether it's to be, you know, show their weaknesses or nefarious or whatever. It is absolutely crazy. But, I mean, this is just interesting news to me. I'm not going to say good job, Lazarus, but, you know, if the institutions or organizations you guys went after, either one, deserved it, or two, lacks in security, that's on them. But not that I'm condoning hacking. No, I would never do that. I would never do that. Altcoin season never ended. There it is. Altcoin season never ended. Traders just missed the winners. Says Arthur Hayes. But I don't think he points out the actual winners. Okay. Hayes pointed to Hyperliquid. Hype. Let's look at Hype real quick as we get ready for Red Panda Mining to go live here shortly. Hype is at $24. Let's look over the past year. I mean, yeah, September, it was at its high of $58 all time. Yeah, that was its high. It started off at the end of 2024. Bottomed out at $10 on April 6th. Got all the way up to $58. So almost a 2x gain. And now it's around $24. So that's one of the coins that Arthur Hayes points out to. He also cited Solana, which shed most of its gains in 2022, down almost $7 before surging to nearly 300 at the beginning of this year. Again, there's been altcoin season, you just didn't participate in it. And I kind of agree with that. There were some altcoins that like did really, really good, took profits in it, and then switched positions or moved to another. But, you know, since basically September, October of 2023, Solana has been on a significant uptrend. You know, we got the ETFs coming. You know, January peaked at 253, 247. I could have swore we hit 300. I could have swore we hit 300. Why does that say only the high of 257? Did we not hit 300? Hang on one second. Where's Solana at? We almost hit 300. We were at 295. 295.20. So yeah, like if you got Solana back here on September 2023 at roughly $18, sub 20, which I remember Crypto Wendy O said that. Like if Solana fell to sub 20, I'm buying it. And I agreed with that. And what I've been doing is I've been mining altcoins and converting into Solana. Including like for my Jazz miners, I was mining ETC hash or Ethereum proof of work and converting it to Solana, and it did fundamentally great. Like it did great. Took some profits along the way. You know, obviously I had to fix the TL, had to pay some debts down, but I'm not selling big bags. I'm just selling small percentages to help, you know, pay off bills or help fix a vehicle because I need a vehicle because my son started driving. Like, doing things I needed to do for the family, basically. But yeah, All right, Red Panda Mining should be live. Let's find out. Big game this week between the Broncos and Jags. I'm looking forward to it. The Broncos are a really good team, so we'll see. We will see. But I am not sure. I'm kind of nervous. Those guys are good, but we see if Trevor can play a good game again and show some consistency, because that's his biggest con is consistency. But there's some really good games as we get towards the end of the NFL. Didn't really care too much for the fight last night, but yeah, got some automotive content that I'm working on right now. I know not tech related, but it's whatever. So all right, Red Panda should be going live. He is live. I'm gonna send you guys on over there. Let's make sure that you guys are not getting. All right, did you get sent a hammer miner? No, Tech Man, I was not sent a hammer miner. He also said he has Tangem, but until some sort of local no account needed thing, it won't ever be a true cold storage wallet. North Korea got 70K from DJ. Talking about DJ Mines, DJ Waters. I hope he's doing okay. I gotta reach out to my brother. Everybody says he's my brother because we look alike, even though we don't. But did you get sent a hammer miner? No, I have not, Tech Man. How's the Solana network? It's weak. It's doing okay, but it's weak. Solana could handle Trump coin. It crashed. Yeah, I mean, anytime a coin does really, really good, it does crash. It does crash. All right, I'm going to send you guys over to Red Panda Mining. You all have yourself a wonderful day. Please do me a favor on the way out. Hit that like button. Make sure to get subscribed. Hit the notification bell to stay up to date, as well as check out additional links in the description to help support the channel and what we do here. And, yeah, I might not live stream next week. We'll see, because it is the weekend after Christmas. But just hang tight. And, yeah, I'll just keep you guys posted, get you guys content whenever I can. And Red Panda stream is starting to struggle for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on. All right, peace.